Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my spring of 2025 graphic novel haul. Feels like this year just started and we're already in April. So yes, join me. And welcome back, everybody. This is a video that I have been doing for years. It was my monthly haul video, and then it kind of became a quarterly haul video, and now I do it by season, just because there's so much that I acquire and so much I need to read. As a matter of fact, some of the books that I have here are kind of scattered about by the presidents of reading. Some of the ones in the back are definitely on my bookshelf right now, or not my bookshelf, I'm sorry, my nightstand. But a lot of you folks have wanted this segment back, and I thought about, well, maybe, you know, I do a lot of overviews, a lot of early looks, and a lot of other type of videos, but this is the video that brought a lot of you to my channel, so I guess, yeah, why would I take that away? So I am going to be doing it through the different seasons now, and I know we're now in, what are we getting to, summer soon? No, we just ended winter. Anyway, seasons, smash that like button, please. I guess, yes, we're still in spring, but this is mostly through December, January, February, and March, which is my birthday. So some of these are gifts, and then a lot of these are ones that I ended up buying. All right. Yeah, how do I normally do this? It's been a minute. Yeah, I'll just start over here somewhere with the stack. Yes. Armory Wars, the second stage Turbine Blade from Boom Studios. This is written and created by Claudio Sanchez, who I actually had a chance to talk to at New York Comic Con a couple of years back. And at the time, I had no idea that he was also the lead guitarist and vocalist on Coheed and then Cambria. But it was really cool because I just thought he was a comic book creator, and I put two and two together because Amanda was telling me, you know, who he was. But anyway, these are the different artists that he works with in this series. And I had never gotten a chance to read Armory Wars, and I always wanted to. I honestly thought it was based on a video game, but apparently what it was a album that he put out. And the album has ties to the graphic novel, the comic book. So I thought, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. He had been writing this for many years, long before, you know, you have a lot of the musicians that are getting into comics. He was doing it for years. So it's got a lot of sci-fi elements in it and something that I've been wanting to read. I know that he's working with a lot of different artists through here, but it looks like the colors really bring it together. This is a standard size hardcover. And I believe there is a second volume to this. And here's all the extras in the back, like the covers and original art and your end sheets there, which are different than your end sheets in the front. And that is $39.99, suggested for mature readers. Godkiller Spiderland. This is book 3. And oh my gosh, this first 2 volumes of this series were nuts. This is definitely for mature readers. This is published by Black Mask Studios by Matteo Pizzolo and Anna Muckracker. But the artwork is absolutely stunning through here. Here's Godkiller Volume 1, 2, 3, Tomorrow's Ashes, and then book 1 and 2 right here. This has book 3. This was released last year. There was a little bit of a delay. It is a surreal and supernatural story with some intense artwork, with lots of sexual content. So I will say that. I had to skip a lot. And I mean a lot of pages, not just for the sexual content, but also the nudity, just to get to show you these pages. Definitely has that anime flair going for it, and it definitely has a lot of violence. Book 1 and 2, I think as of this video, are still in print, and this one just came out with a 4th one on the way. Hopefully there won't be any delays. And we're going to be looking at some of the covers. This is cover tissue number 1 by Nen Chang. And skipping a little bit because, yes, lots of nudity in some of the other covers. Oh, that's a cool one taken take on Clockwork Orange. Nope, never mind. We can't look at those last two covers, but that is Godkiller, Book 3. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips continuing their collab with Houses of the Unholy. They just had another one come out recently that will probably be in my summer haul. Love those end sheets. Look like something I would find in grandmother's like wallpaper, but I don't know. I don't know what this one is about, but I know I'm a big fan of both of their work with their crime noir stories. And I'm not sure if this one is taking place in the world of Criminal or if it's taking place in another universe. But I know I'm a huge fan of their work. And I don't want to spoil too much for me. A lot of these books I can't spoil too, so I'm flipping through here, like being really careful. And let's look at the back, see if there's anything extra. Sometimes I take a gamble with that. And it looks like it's just ads, because what they're doing is publishing original graphic novels. So there's the Criminal World, the Fatale, Kill or Be Killed. And this is Reckless down here. Fade Out is so good. And Pulp is excellent as well. And then the biographies on Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips and Jacob Phillips. And this is a standard size hardcover that came out originally as a graphic novel, just like this. Mark Russell, Mike Allred, and Laura Allred team up again to do the Batman Dark Age story. This is a standard size hardcover from DC Comics. And they're the same team that did the Superman Space Age. And I cannot wait to read this one. Melanie yanked it from my hands as soon as I got it because she was a big fan of the Superman Space Age. And now this is the one that kind of retells and reimagines the origin of Bruce Wayne and aging in real time. That's all I know about it. So, again, flipping through here, making sure I don't spoil too much for myself and, of course, you all. And then in the back, I know we have some variant covers, like we did with Superman Space Age. No talk yet of a deluxe edition or absolute, but maybe one day. Chris Burnham. And Ian, I thought that was Grampa. Rafael Grampa at first. And then other Batman and Superman works. Yes, this is the book I was talking about. Superman Space Age. Now, we're looking at some trade paperbacks from DC. This is Wesley Dodd's The Sandman by Robert Venditti, Riley Rossmo, doing the artwork here. And Wesley Dodds, we just got the catalog and saw that we're getting a second Sandman Mystery Theater Compendium Volume 2. I can't wait for that Compendium Volume 2. It's the first time DC is actually finishing out the series. And this is a retro series taking place in the past. And Venditti is solid. I know that he's getting 2 back-to-back Green Lantern Omnis, which is just unprecedented these days. Usually they do a volume 1, see how well it does, and then they're like, nah, we'll just go ahead, announce both of them. Now, of course, those are both in the catalog. He has a really good understanding of these characters and the time, and I really enjoyed this series. I don't know if there is more to it than that, but this is collecting the first few issues. I want to say it's just issues 1 through 6, if I'm not mistaken. So if you know that if this continues, please let me know in the comments down below, or if it was just a mini-series. And nothing as far as extras in the back, really. Just kind of a tease of maybe what's to come. And as far as extras in the back, nothing really, because the variant covers are sometimes on the opposite side of the standard edition cover. But that is Wesley Dodds, The Sandman. Green Lantern, War Journal, Contagion, part of the Dawn of DC by Philip Kennedy Johnson. And Montos is the artist. This is focusing on the character of John Stewart. And very much like Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern storyline, it is not a reimagining or a reboot, but a continuation of this classic character with aspects, or borrowing at least aspects from Rebirth, and also a little bit of the New 52. But Green Lantern was one of those series that didn't really get like a hard reboot. It was just a soft boot and a little bit of I don't even know if they changed that much, but a little bit of the things got retconned. Not very much, but yes, John Stewart is still one of the Green Lanterns here in Sector 2814, and we get to meet some other new Green Lanterns through this series. Blue Beetle Scarab War by Josh Trujillo and Adrian Gutierrez. And this is a continuation of Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle, along with some other friends that could be Blue Beetle. By the way, this is a great jumping on point. A lot of these new, or the Dawn of DC books are great jumping on points because they quickly catch you up to speed on the whole history of Blue Beetle, and then how Jaime Reyes ended up with the scarab that turns him into Blue Beetle, and who these characters are that are helping him along the way. And man, this becomes more like a Power Rangers type of story through here, which I know, you know, with the whole massive universe like Radiant Black and Power Rangers, that seems to be the very popular thing. But even in the way the art is handled. Now, he's still, of course, a team player, so part of the DC Universe team, but he also has his own team that I really enjoy. And this artwork is just killer. Really dig the artist and the colors. Let me give credit where credit is due. It is Adrian Gutierrez and Will Quintana and Nick Filardi are the colorists in here. And this is part of the new Dawn of DC, where you have the standard cover and then the variant cover on the other side. That is Blue Beetle Scarab War. All right, we got 2 Titans books. Titans Beast World. This is actually on my list to read. It's on my stack of nightstand books by Tom Taylor, Ivan Hayes. And then Titans Beast World Tour, which is a companion that collects the Metropolis one-shot, Gotham one-shot, Central City one-shot, Atlantis, Star City, and the Waller Rising, as well as Nightwing 109 and 110 and Action Comics 1068. So, Beast World is right here, containing the Titans Beast World 1 through 6, and then Titans 6 through 7. All of it by Tom Taylor. It's his first official crossover when he's writing Titans. And these are, of course, the older Titans, not so much the Teen Titans. So you have characters like Nightwing and Wally West Flash and Starfire, as well as Donna Troy and Superboy. Cyborg, always a part of that team, and then of course Beast Boy too. Now they're not the only the only Titans that will be part of this crossover, because you'll actually get some cameos from other Titans that have been part of the Titans in the past, like Raven, and this is the one that's crossing over into the different parts of the DC universe. So, haven't got a chance to read this one, and it's on my nightstand to read. I think it's about 10 books deep, but I'll get to it. My buddy Justin Fox. He's a good friend of the channel. He did some of the music on the channel, and he is my buddy Rob's brother. Rob, who's been a big part of Near Mint Condition since day one. Appreciate you keep chasing the dream, and I'm really proud. Oh, man, I love you too, Justin. Justin has been making his own video games, has been making his own music, and now he wants to take a lot of those ideas and put them into a graphic novel format with his first comic here, Black Man, Tribes, Words, and Blood, Volume 1, Love and Hate, and More Hate. Justin's a really funny dude, and I had the privilege of reading this when he was working on it, and now it's fully in color, and I get the chance to actually flip through here and check it out when it's a finished product. Now he's continuing the series, and it's Justin Fox Media. Here's those QR codes. If you're actually, he gifted me one of these little sweatshirts too. I wore it once. I need to find it and wear it again. But anyway, this is for my buddy Justin Fox. Black Man, Tribes, Words, and Blood. Green Lantern, War Journal the Builder. Now, one of the things that DC is doing, and has been doing for a little bit, is kind of borrowing what the Marvel Epic Collections have been doing and putting the volume numbers in the back. So this, again, is a continuation of the... I haven't read this one. John Stewart as Green Lantern. And instead of calling it Green Lantern Corps, but it does feel like Green Lantern Corps, because it's not just John Stewart, but a lot of other of the Green Lanterns. They're calling it the War Journal, and all told through the perspective of John Stewart. Birds of Prey, this is volume 2. Okay, I said that they're not putting the volume numbers in the spine anymore, but that one does have it. So maybe it's just, depending on which volume. This is the one I haven't read yet, but this is a continuation of Kelly Thompson, Javier Pina, David Lopez, Jonathan Case, Jordi Belair, working together. That's a lot of artists right there. Oh, including Sophie Campbell. love her work in Ninja Turtles, and long before that in Glory from Image Comics. But this is a continuation of Kelly Thompson's run on this book. And colors look a little... I think it's supposed to be looking like this. Retro colors based on the cover right here. Worlds Without End. And that is a Derek Chu cover right there. So yeah, they're purposely done that way. So you have Big Barda and Batgirl and Black Canary being a big part of the Birds of Prey. But they're not alone. There's other characters that are part of the Birds of Prey. And that is adorable. Sorry, I had to go flip through that. Volume 2, Worlds Without End. Nightwing! This is Volume 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Volume 6. Volume 7 is the last one. Mine's actually coming in this week, so it'll be there for the next haul. And then by the time I do that haul, it will have the Omni, the first Omni, but it won't have these stories yet. Continuation of Dick Grayson still living in Bloodhaven and learning to deal with these new threats there. And this is the hardcover. There is a trade paperback edition that is coming out. And let's look in the back here for some extras, because I didn't finish reading this one yet, so I don't want to spoil what happens in the last 2 issues. Here's some variant covers. And wow, that's a lot of variant covers. And some retro variant covers too. Oh, this is cool. I do like this, the flaps right there. Poison Ivy, continuation of G. Willow Wilson, Marcio Takada, working together on Pam's story here. One of my favorite reads of the year last year, thanks to my buddy Bar, that told me about the series. I love where it went. There were things I did not expect to happen in the story. If you haven't had a chance to read it, read that first volume. It is so good, and the artwork is completely mind-blowing, along with the colors. And let me just make sure the colors... Give the credit to the right people here. Marcio Takada, Haining, and Alif Briantos, the colorist. So, absolutely stunning book about a redemption arc for the character of Poison Ivy, Pam Isley. Is she worth giving redemption to, though? That is the question. Justice Society Volume 2, Long Live the JSA. I have waited so long to finish reading this. Jeff Johns hasn't even been at DC Comics for about a year now, but this is wrapping up his run with Marco Santucci, Mikhail Janin, Todd Knock, and bringing up these characters here like The Flash, Dr. Fate, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific and Huntress. But also, you gotta have Stargirl in here. Yes, there she is, Stargirl. And other characters that have appeared in the past in his run. Okay, better not flip too much through here. Wait, Hour Man, is that... Okay, I think that's the android. Hour Man. Anyway, let's look here through the back. Or I can... Maybe? Yeah, there's some extras. Alright, let's look at these. We've got some variant covers in the back here. And I realize I got to start flipping through these fat. That is beautiful. Tony Harris. My gosh, that's gorgeous. I got to start flipping through here faster because I got a lot more to go. Forgot there's a haul video, not an overview video. Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander continue their Philadelphia with this deluxe edition right here, collecting the issues 13 through 24 and the tie-ins, the Elysium Gardens. So I really like the first one. Yes, it is about vampires. Of course, it is called Philadelphia, and I'm pretty sure most of you could guess. I like how dark it went, and there's some comedy I didn't expect to be in there, but I really dug that first volume, the first deluxe edition. It came out in 2023, I want to say, and this one came out late last year in 2024. I'm not sure if they're going to continue the series or if this is it, but this is what the artwork looks like through here. It's a very Ashley Wood type of feel to it, but it really fits the tone of the story that they're telling here. So there's a big werewolf and vampire war going on there. And that is a deluxe edition. Speaking of deluxe edition, here we go with a very unique deluxe edition because this wasn't solicited from DC Comics, even though it is a DC Black Label book. This was actually published by Abrams Comics Art, and it is the new printing of the deluxe edition of, you guessed it, Uncle Sam. And this is written by Steve Darnell and co-plotted and illustrated by none other than Alex Ross, with Todd Klein on lettering. So if you're familiar with the work of Alex Ross, what else do I need to say? Then get this book. I remember this was printed by Vertigo, I want to say. And I did have a trade paperback of this, and then the Uncle Sam. It was the series after Infinite Crisis that Jimmy Palmiotti did with Daniel Acuna. There is a trade paperback of that, but this wasn't collected in that trade paperback. But this is the story of a long forgotten character named Uncle Sam and having to walk across America when no one recognizes or respects you. Of course, the artwork here is stunning and provided by Alex Ross. I mean, you need to do an overview. Just give me a reason to reread this one. Put it at the top of the pile. All right. Batman Battle for the Cowl, the complete collection. I've had a lot of these stories already collected in trade paperbacks, but I figured this one had a little bit more. It's got a couple of the one-shots that my previous trades didn't have. So this is dealing with, of course, in the aftermath of what happened to Bruce Wayne and how the Bat family and Gotham is dealing with his absence. Who is going to take over the Cowl? Which of these characters is the likely successor to become the new Batman of Gotham if something truly did happen to Bruce Wayne? This is the Oracle one-shot right here. Love that cover. And this issue is really good. This is Kevin Van Hook, and Julian Lopez is the artist on this book. But, a lot of artwork in here from Tony Danielle. And let me look in the back here to see what's collected. So, Battle for the Cowl has been collected before. Arkham Asylum, One Shot, Commissioner Gordon, Man-Bat, The Network. That was collected in a Birds of Prey trade, as well as the Oracle the Cure. I think it's the Gotham Gazette, Batman is Dead. Those Gotham Gazette one-shots I don't think were collected anywhere. So that's why I decided to get this big, thick trade, even though I've read the stories before. I just wanted to have it all in one place. And it is a thickie, and it retails for $39.99. Big fan of Cy Spurrier and big fan of John Constantine. This is Hellblazer Dead in America by Aaron Campbell and Cy Spurrier. And I've gone on record on my channel many times talking about how John Constantine, to me, after issue 300 of the Vertigo series, that was it. I don't think John Constantine was the same when he got integrated into the DC universe. And I know there's a lot of great stories with the character. But my buddy Jess, who also likes the character of John Constantine, or Constantine, depending, I guess, where you're from and where you grew up, was also a big fan of Hellblazer. So he told me, you need to check out this latest Cy Spurrier book. I think you would really dig it. So that's why I ended up picking it up. It does have really creepy imagery, but that's the way Campbell is. And this, I want to say, is the mini-series, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, just in case. Collecting the 11-issue mini-series. Okay. In the back, there are some extra. Ooh, Swampy get to make an appearance? Oh, don't tell me. If you've read it, don't say anything. Morpheus? Or was that Daniel? Shooting the Reference by Aaron Campbell. That is definitely Morpheus. So when does this take place? Okay, now I'm curious. I did read that Derek Robertson book, the one that he did, which was another Black Label book. And this is a Black Label, even though we got Vertigo back. Pearl. I know nothing about this book, but what got me was the cover, and I saw 2 or 3 of the color tones. It's like a bluish color tone. Amy's world changes after the attack on Pearl Harbor. And this is on my stack of books to read on my nightstand, which is getting huge. And I know my wife, taking place in 1886. I really thought it was during Pearl Harbor, so it must have been in the 40s then. Maybe it's talking about the history of the Pearl. But anyway, I love the artwork. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Cliff Chang and Michael Avon Oeming. Maybe it is definitely Pearl Harbor. Okay. Who is the publisher of this one? It's Graphics Publishing that did this. And I want to give credit where credit is due. Sherry Smith and Christine Norrie are working on this book. So you might see it at the end of the year. My favorite reads. You might see it in the Hidden Gems, but this is Pearl. It does come with a dust jacket, and it is a smaller scale book. I am a huge fan of Chris Samney. Huge fan of Chris Samney. So when I found out that he was working on this new book with Robert Kirkman, Matt Wilson doing the colors, and Russ Wooten doing the lettering, I checked out the first one, and I actually read the first one really quick. It's a lot of fun. Firepower is a mix of like Iron Fist meets Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think that's the best way I can describe it. You have a character that trained very similar in the art style that Iron Fist trained under, and he has the ability to create fire. So that's why I said like the elements of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but a lot of fun, and of course the Chris Samney artwork. This is the one that came out, I think, late last year, and I haven't had a chance to read it. That is something that happens, right, when this is what I do for a living, and reading for fun takes a backseat because I have to go through a bunch of other books. As you'll see here in a little bit, my DC Finest tech has gotten ridiculous, but a lot of that I already read, and thank goodness for Dom covering the DC Finest books. But anyway, this is the latest volume, and this is it. This is what wraps up the series. In the back, we do have some extras, like covers for trade paperbacks and single... Oh, no, wait, this is a Skybound book, so they put all the covers here in the back. And then this right here, I assume it's the afterword from Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. But it is a deluxe oversized book, and that is Firepower Volume 2. My buddy Bruce got me this Thorn Deluxe Library Edition. So looking at some of these gifts. And this is the stuff that predates Bone. And you might see some familiar characters in here from the world of Bone. If you're familiar with Jeff Smith's Bone, you know that he first appeared through here. This is some early 80s stuff. And stuff that he was doing during college. So you'll see the evolution of an artist in this landscape type of book. It is a comic strip after all. And you have the dates there, January 5th, 1984, January 4th, February 23rd, 24th, 27th, and 28th. So it's really cool. I love looking at things like this, especially when it's somebody that I love. Bone, I know I've recommended it to a lot of my viewers or people that have kids, or one of those graphic novels for all ages. And it's cool to come back to this and look at the beginning of his art, and then of course also his storytelling. So from Cartoon Books, it's Thorn by Jeff Smith. My buddy Thomas Judge sent me some stuff for our giveaways or to keep for myself. So we got some Fables in here. 1001 Nights. Oh my gosh. That cover, I think that cover to this day is the original cover, is the one that went for the most amount of money, if I'm not mistaken. And we've got Fables, The Ever After, The Unsentimental Education, and then we have Empowered. So some of the stuff you'll be seeing in our giveaway. So big thank you to my buddy Thomas Judge. He also sent me that Onslaught book, which I want to look at here in a second. Then After the Cape right here, this is an image book from Shadowline, which I haven't had a chance to read yet. So this is definitely on my to read pile. And something very, very near and special came from my buddy Dan Fiedler, and just thanking me for hours of great content. He said his wallet does not thank me, but he does. This is one of my books that I've been wanting for a long time. I guess one of my whales, and it's Essex County. I know I've talked about it on the channel. I know I've done actually it made it in my best standalone graphic novels book, so I know I've talked about it, but this is the hardcover version. And he even wrote a little fun fact about it. I didn't know this, but Matt Kent designed the front cover of this book. That is really cool. And this is the hardcover edition. The softcover edition is one that's been out for a long time, but the hardcover one is the one that is hard to find, and it's just different people at different times in this little town of Essex County in Canada, and how their stories are connected. Oh, thank you, dude. I was not expecting this. This is so cool. All right, next up are all of the DC Finest books I've gotten. Big shout out to my buddy Dom of X, who has tackled the DC Finest overviews here on the channel. But these for the most part, I've read a lot of these, but some of these I've never read. And I was looking at just the amount of reading that I do for overviews, and if I had them probably a week before they came out, I could probably tackle them. That's what I like to do with like the Marvel books. I like to read the Marvel stuff about a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks before they come out. But then you add Silver Age stories in there from the DC universe, and oh man, you're talking about that. That is multiplying your reading by at least 2 times as much. So I'm very grateful for him. These books are amazing. They're like the DC version of Epic Collections. I know I've done overviews on the first 4 of the batch, or was it the first 5? But these are $39.99 as of this video. And much like the Marvel Epic Collections, they come out not in chronological order, but they come out in just, different order. So this is the Girl of Steel, and what they do is they highlight the years that this collects. So from 1959 to 1962, and what's collected in here. So a lot of the backup stories and appearances of Supergirl throughout the years. So sometimes they start with a volume 1 for characters, and then other times you're thrown into like a volume 18. That is the big difference between the Marvel Epic Collections and the DC Finest Collections. And here, let me actually get to the next book. That is the years. So the years are how they're separating these. So instead of a volume number in the back, they give you the years 1963 and 1966. The Doom Patrol, the World's Strangest Heroes. So this should be a volume 1, I want to say. Introducing the Doom Patrol. Okay. So it doesn't say it's a volume 1. And another thing, I remember when we looked at the designs of these, we were very, very excited for it on the channel. We kicked off our launch of DC Finest the month they came out with Mark Waid and Curtis, my buddy Curtis, and of course Dom. But one of the things I noticed is that for every one of these, no matter what book it is, everything starts at 1938. And I thought that was a little bit confusing, because if you're a new reader, like somebody that doesn't really know anything, like say about the Doom Patrol, you would think, okay, there's volumes that take place before 1963, because otherwise they have these years here. But no, this is just a template that they use for every volume, which kind of, I wish they would have like a volume number in the back to let you know, no, you are looking at the first volume. And this is the Silver Age of the Doom Patrol. This stuff has been available before in an omnibus format. I think the Silver Age did come out along with Suicide Squad. But this is the introduction to these characters by a lot of people that you may be familiar with, like Arnold Drake and Bob Haney. And let me see. In the back, they don't have like the extras that the Epic Collections do, but oh my gosh, the page count is amazing. You get the biggest bang for your buck here. 624 pages for $39.99. That is unheard of these days. Especially for classic material, and some of it being collected for the first time. Now, this, of course, is Teen Titans, the Judas Contract, probably the most famous storyline to come out of Marv Wolfman and George Perez's run. It's the betrayal, it's the changing of the guard, it's characters growing up and coming back looking a little bit different. And of course, I mean, this is the stuff that legends are made of. The coming of Nightwing and Deathstroke just taking out the Teen Titans in the worst way possible. But what's the beauty of these is that they don't just collect the Judas Contract, because that is coming out in deluxe edition later. It has been available in omnibus format, but they collect everything around that era. So we are looking at the years 1983 to 1984. And if you were collecting these books at the time, so now we have Nightwing as one of the characters instead of Robin, you know that this was a huge seller. This was as popular as Marvel's Uncanny X-Men. But that is Teen Titans. In case you don't have the Omnis or want to get the deluxe edition, you just want to get the classic story or get everything in DC Finest format. Now we have Green Lantern. We are looking at 63 to 65. So the Silver Age. Now I assume Green Lantern will just be the title, so when they want to collect like the Golden Age stories, it'll be Alan Scott. So it won't always be Hal Jordan, I would assume, right? Especially when you're collecting stories like The Flash. You've had many different Flashes like Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, Wally West. Same thing with Hal Jordan and the character of Alan Scott, and then of course Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, Kyle Rayner, and so on. So I wonder how they'll collect. I mean, if we're going to 2011, that is the beginning of the New 52. So this is stuff that has been collected again in Omni format. This is the Silver Age stuff. And they just reprinted volumes 1 and 2 of the Omni. But they know now that there are different collectors out there. They have the collectors that just want to read everything in the most affordable way. And that is this format right here. Because again, this book, for example, other books right there, has 598 pages and $39.99. One of the other things they're doing is the event book. So even though events have been collected in Omni format, events could be collected, like in that Suicide Squad book. The Legends event is collected in there. They're also doing event books. So every tie-in, everything from 0 Hour is collected in this Crisis in Time Part 1. Dan Jurgens, Jerry Ordway, bringing in the idea that perhaps the DC Universe needs to establish rules when it comes to time travel. That it can't be as easy as, I want to go back to the past, I want to go to the future, and not change things. So you bring in the Legion of Superheroes, the Time Trapper, and then of course the Linear Men, who play a big part through here. And one of the biggest changes to a superhero that, well, for a lot of people just went completely to the dark side, and I don't want to spoil who that is, in case you've never read these stories. But hey, Volume 2, I believe, is coming out later this year in 2025 of that. Green Arrow, my favorite Green Arrow run, the Longbow Hunters, kicking off the Mike Grell era, where he takes the character of Green Arrow and takes him all the way to Seattle. He no longer really goes by the monocle Green Arrow, just known as Oliver Queen. And him and Dinah open up a flower shop, and they try to solve crime in the city of Seattle. I want to say, does it have a rating? That is something I've noticed about these, is they don't have a rating on the back. Much like the DC Compacts, they don't tell you what's got mature content. I know Longbow Hunters, even the Omni had like a parental advisory, mainly due to the violence, right? But again, Mike Grell has always stated that for the violence, all he was doing was looking at the headlines of the newspaper, looking at what the news were showing. That's all he was doing. He was just borrowing from that. This is a phenomenal era for Green Arrow. And one of the things maybe you're noticing, maybe you're not, until I point it out, not a lot of dialogue. Not a lot of dialogue through here. Maybe that's why a lot of people liked it. They were like, oh, they're letting the art tell the story. That's kind of cool. So it's backing off the dialogue. I mean, we still have some, right? But not as much as we used to have during that Bronze Age transition period. Hell, even some stuff in the 90s were trying to win awards. Now we're looking at Catwoman. Some of the stuff has been collected. Others have not. We're looking at the beginning of the Jim Ballant era, so the 90s stuff. And then we're looking at the miniseries. This miniseries here by Mindy Newell has never been collected, with J.J. Birch on artwork. So I love that about the DC Finest, that they're bringing out collections of stuff that has never properly been collected in any kind of format. And then, of course, we get into the 90s stuff with Bane and her new costume, and Mary Jo Duffy with Jim Ballant. I think people know this as the Jim Ballant era because of the way that he just drew the character, right? And this is the crossover with Nightfall, Night Quest, and then eventually Night's End. But she does get her own spin-off series. This is before the Brubaker run, which I'm sure will be collected one day in this format. Mary Jo Duffy and Jim Ballant writing this tie-in to Night's End. Justice Society of America, For America and Democracy. And one of the things you're going to notice back here, well, there's a little misprint. Justice League, it's supposed to be Justice Society. It's collecting All-Star Comics 3 through 12, and those are all the pages from there, from 1940 to 1942. No title known as Justice Society of America, because they didn't have their own ongoing title. It's just All-Star Comics, really. And a big crossover with the Justice League later on, of course. But we are looking at Golden Age stuff. We're looking at Hawkman, the Spectre, the Flash, Hourman, the Atom, Green Lantern. And looking at these type of stories, I want to say this has been released in an archive format. I don't think it made it into an Omni format, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I have been wrong a lot in the past. But really cool now that these old school stories are coming out in this format for anybody to read. Now with these, I will say, be prepared to do a lot of reading. Set time aside to read these stories here. But these are classics, and only from 40 to 42. My goodness, we got a while to go. The last book that I have so far, maybe my summer haul will have more, is the Legion of Superheroes. Zap Goes the Legion. We're looking at 1968 to 1974. I want to say this stuff has been collected in Omni format before. And table of contents right here, telling you who did the cover, who did the writing, who did the layouts, and the coloring, the inks, and of course the lettering. There are some covers in here by Neil Adams, but a lot of Jim Shooter stuff in here when he was a young man. And Cary Bates doing some of the writing in here. But yes, this is the Legion of Superheroes. And one thing, again, to take note, is that this is all taking place in Adventure Comics, in Action Comics, in Superboy. And there is no Legion of Superheroes comics, but because they were such a big player in a lot of these stories, they decided to collect the stories like this in this format. Again, this is before Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is when Superboy was part of the Legion of Superheroes, that they traveled to the past, and he had adventures in the future too. And then eventually so did Supergirl. But that's for another day. One of the things you are probably seeing, I always like to point out, in case people think they're missing, wow, Shadowland's looking fine. Artwork, where is it? I just saw it. It's a big DC logo. Whenever you see a DC logo at the very bottom of a page, it's usually due to an ad being there. So let me just find something like this. It's usually an ad down there is what they are not able to reprint here. But this is another big book, almost at 580 pages, yeah, and $39.99. Anzuelo by Emma Rios. I know nothing about this book other than my buddy Ben that told me I need to read it. And I said, yeah, this is published by Image Comics. And she does everything besides, of course, the edits and then the assist. It is a painted book. To my dad, I'm sorry you couldn't see it. And that broke my heart. Because I, like so many other people, are there. All the achievements and everything my dad won't be able to... I mean, I know he sees it, but it's different. So, when I saw that, I think that's why I couldn't read it yet. I got this sometime in January or maybe December. And I just couldn't bring myself to read it when I saw the to my dad who couldn't see this. But now I think I'm ready. So this is going to my reading pile. I just wanted I'm going to just showcase a little bit of the watercolors here so you can see. I have no idea what this is about. But I do trust my buddy Ben, Bunkmaster B, who loves independent comics, loves Image Comics, and he's never led me the wrong path. So yeah, I'm going to be checking this out. And that is Anzuelo. Radiant Black. I know we've had an overview on the channel. My buddy Dom got to do it. And this is the massive edition. And one of the things I have learned about this is that they're not guaranteeing a volume 2 of this. Neither Image or Kyle Higgins. It's based on sales. So spread the word. Let others know that this is a way to collect the massive universe. So Radiant Black is what's primarily collected in here. You have Radiant Black 1 through 12. So it's the first year of the massive universe. But they don't know if they're going to do any more volume. So all of it really depending on sales, just like everything else. I mean, we hear the same from Marvel and DC Comics. Image is the same way. Every publisher is the same way. Everything depends on sales. But I want to showcase, in case you didn't see his overview, he did an amazing job overviewing the book. Kyle Higgins, Marcelo Costa are the main creators of this, and then you have co-writers and guest artists as well. So somebody like David LaFuente, who had done things like Ultimate Spider-Man, if you will. But if you love his work in Power Rangers, look no further than this book to whet your appetite for more of his Power Rangers type of storytelling, but just with more of a mature theme, if you will. A little behind the scenes and how he brought this into his existence. And even music. Wow, that's pretty cool. He went through all kinds of trouble to put this together. And that is Radiant Black from Image Comics, the Massive Edition, Book 1. So here's a book I had to get off my nightstand to bring down here. I was in the process of reading it. This is Manifest Destiny, Book 2. And yes, collecting issues 25 through 48, plus the Skybound X #1 short story. So this wraps up Chris Dingus and Matthew Roberts' wonderful story about perhaps what could have happened in the past, or this alternate Earth, if you will. About coming over to America and what happened to all these people. And I've only gotten to, I want to say, yeah, right here. Okay, so I can't go too much through here, but again, there's supernatural elements, there's story elements that history books then teach you, because, I mean, you know, they take a lot of liberties with stories like this, but I love alternate history type of stories, and if you're a fan of that, I strongly suggest checking this out. In the back, because this is one of those Skybound books, we do have the covers. Textless covers all through here, and then variant covers, including that one there. That don't think that character appears through here. But if you're a history buff and know the story of Lois and Clark, Sacagawea, then I strongly suggest, or anybody in your family that does, checking this out, at least trying out the first book. Book 2, Press, the Deluxe Edition. This is the new printing from DC Comics with a DC logo. I don't think they've done a deluxe edition before. I have read this one, and it was the first book I ever read by Mark Russell. It is about a teenage girl named Beth Ross who becomes president of the United States in this futuristic story in 2048, I want to say. Yeah, 2048, where there's no age limitations or anything. I was just reading his X Factor. Well, I guess depending on when you watch this video, that video went up this past Tuesday, and I noticed that he has a trend with corn dogs. He really likes the corn dog jokes, and what does it mean? But anyway, this is the corn dog girl and becoming president of the United States, and the artist is Ben Caldwell. So Ben Caldwell doing the artwork here. Mark Morales doing the inks, and Jeremy Lawson doing the coloring through here. This was originally published by Vertigo Comics, and in the back we do have some extras right here. Now available in deluxe edition. There's Beth right there, Prez, as she goes by. And then layouts, thumbnail sketches, sketches for the covers, and the finished work. Again, a deluxe edition that collects the entire 6-issue miniseries with a dust jacket. Super Sexy Time Sunstone, Book 3 by Stefan Sajic. Collects trade paperbacks volumes 6 through 8. I know we've done an old reader, new reader on volumes 1 and 2, but this is the third volume. And Stefan Sajic, again, super sexy artwork, so mature ratings. And it's about these two young ladies. I swear, the sell on this one is so hard because it's like, what do I say? Like S&M, like two young ladies are into each other and trying to find out about themselves. But it's much more than that. It's a lot deeper than that. It's got a lot more love aspects to it. And my goodness, beautiful, beautiful artwork throughout the book. I haven't read this one. My wife is a huge fan. My buddy Tina, Wonder Maddie's the one that brought it to our attention for Old Reader, New Reader. They absolutely love this book. And so if you haven't read it, yes, keep that in mind. It's beautiful artwork. It's Stepan Sajic, the gentleman who did a lot of the work in Top Cow for Witchblade. But it has a lot of mature themes in here. And let me look in the back here. I know we have some extras. All right, Dumb and Dumber. And then here we go again. So some pinups. And other Top Cow books here. But this one is $49.99. And again, it has that flesh tone to the actual board. I know my buddy Dom has already done an overview of this. This is Robin, Son of Batman, the deluxe edition. It has been released before in a series of trade paperbacks, but this is by Patrick Gleason. And also Peter Tomasi, Ray Fox, and other artists here. And taking the character of Damian Wayne and giving you a solo adventure with other guest appearances through here. Characters that you saw in Super Sons and characters that you saw in the Batman by Peter Tomasi Omni, if you have that book. But yes, this is the Damian Wayne Adventures solo, all by Patrick Gleason. In the back, we are getting some extras, including variant covers and original art. And then, of course, the bio on Patrick Gleason, Ray Fox, Ramon Bax, and Peter J. Tomasi. All right, I'm sure you saw it on the thumbnail. You saw it when I was doing a shot of all the books. What the heck is this? Well, it's an empty box. It is a slipcase. Thomas Judge gifted me this because he knows my love and adoration for the Onslaught Omni. Actually, no, he knows how I feel about the story, but he was like, hey man, would you like this? And I was like, of course I would. He's made this. He's made a lot of custom Omnis in the past. He's gifted me a few in the past, but this is really cool. Omnis don't really have slipcases. I leave that up to Absolute Editions, but this fits snugly into the slipcase right there, giving it more of a classy feel with this Jimmy Calafiore piece right there, Onslaught. But, yeah, completely unexpected. And of all the Omnis, my first Omni to get a slipcase, outside of the ones that have official ones, like The Stand or Dark Tower, is this right here. So thanks, Thomas. Last but certainly not least is finally my copy of the Memetic, the Apocalyptic Trilogy by James Tynion. And this is published by Boom Studios. Eric Donovan supplying the artwork, and I know my buddy Dom has done an overview of this. And actually, I watched this overview because I didn't know what this was about. But there is a slipcase edition, and then there's the regular deluxe edition like this. So what the heck is this about? Well, as it turns out, it is about how the world, of course, government, weaponizes memes. And it ends up leading to an annihilation of the human race within 72 hours. And the cause of all of this, it comes back to one single image. It's an internet meme. And that meme changed everything for humanity. So it's this post-apocalyptic future where in this time, instead of a nuclear bomb or monsters or aliens, it's a meme that changed everything. And again, all written by James Tynion, and just such a weird, obscure concept. But you know what? These days, nothing seems too far-fetched. Since he did an overview, I'm just going to get to the back and look at the artwork here for the different issues. And then the bio on the creators. This one, again, available in a deluxe edition and a slipcase edition and rated mature. And that, was that it? Yeah, that as they say. If you are interested in purchasing some of the books I talked about in this haul, check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my spring of 2025 haul. In the comments down below, let me know what you picked up in the spring, what you picking up this month in April or May, or what books, or one book out of this haul got your interest. If you didn't even know it was a thing that was either reprinted or had come out. Any questions, leave them down below. Smash that like button on the way out. And if you want to see overviews of some of these books that Dom has not gotten a chance to do, or I haven't had a chance to do, let me know in the comments down below. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.